Hey guys, in this video I'd like to get your thoughts on, of course, paying subscription fees for online games. Now this is of course separate to say Xbox Live. Rather this focuses on say World of Warcraft or let's say Modern Warfare or COD or what have you, where you have to pay money to access certain features or just to simply play the game online. I'm going to primarily be talking about MMOs because I have most experience paying for those services to play, but you can use this, however you'd like. Now I'm going to be talking mostly about World of Warcraft, once again since I'm most experienced with that. I also of course have played a few other games such as the Old Republic, which I have got a few videos on, as well as Guild Wars, which of course is an example of a game where you don't have to pay to play it. So, let's go with WoW first. Now, how of course WoW works, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this, but for the few that don't know, who haven't played it or what have you, basically you pay for an expansion, be it, let's go with the Burning Crusade, which is arguably the most popular in terms of from the player base. In other words, the players probably responded best to it, expansion, and of course you don't have to buy the original game on top of that, but let's go with you've bought the original game and let's go with the Burning Crusade, and you also would have to pay a monthly subscription fee. So for example, you would buy World of Warcraft and then you would say, you know what, this game's pretty good, your monthly subscription does not cover the Burning Crusade, you want to access the content, or for example you might have been playing WoW at the very start and then the Burning Crusade comes out, whichever way, and then you buy that expansion and then of course you can access the additional content. There are two differing viewpoints. I've heard both. I'm not going to give you my thoughts on it until I've given, what people, what the viewpoints I've heard. The first viewpoint is Blizzard or other content providers are unfair because of that game. They're paying a monthly subscription fee, which is, let's go with UK currency here, it's around £8.99 I believe, which is I think about $15 is the US subscription prices. I'm not 100%, please feel free to correct me on that. And with that money you should be able to play anything they put out for the game. The other differing opinion is that you're paying only for, well, the expansion and updates. So for example, let's say you've played, let's say you've already bought the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King is now coming out. Now your update for the Burning Crusade would have been patch, let me think, 2, and then it'd been of course 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and then I believe 2.4 was the Sunwell Plateau. I think it was like 2.43 or something, I don't remember. It's been so long since I've actually done this research, so if I'm wrong please correct me. But anyway, the point being that each of those patches, the subsequent 2.1, 2.2 so forth, would basically put in new raids and dungeons and content that you as a player could enjoy, and that would be your subscription fee. However, let's say when the Sunwell Plateau was being created, it has no bearing on the fact that Northrend was also being created, where of course eventually you would go on to fight the Lich King himself. The two things are completely different, and you're paying for that doesn't necessarily mean that you can access additional content. This is additional content and you have to pay for the right to use it. I can somewhat understand both points of view. The fact of the matter is your subscription fee, of course, first of all goes towards Blizzard's profits, of course, which I don't have a problem with, of course. They're a company and ultimately they want to make their money, which is fair enough. Second thing, of course, is it goes towards server costs, such as, well, actually running the damn game servers, and let's face it, those are not cheap for such a large servers. Ultimately there are thousands of players, and Blizzard's network has to be fairly hefty to support all of this. Moving on, there is, of course, the rather inevitable patches. Now, I'm not just talking about content patches here, which of course are a big part of that, but I've already mentioned that, but I've also bug fixes, that kind of thing, and finally, of course, support staff. By support staff, I mostly mean games masters who act as, let's go with moderators. If, say, for example, player A is being what they feel is harassed by player B, then a moderator, in other words, the games master, will of course act as a medium between the two and will try to resolve it. Some people will argue that, you know, the games masters are not fair or what have you. I'm not going to go into that, but there you go. And of course they do other things such as, you know, if your character's stuck or there's a bug with your account, they'll do their best to resolve it. So you're paying basically that money for that. Then of course there is the other model of game, such as say Guild Wars, where you will not have to pay a penny more than you, well, need to. In other words, if for example you buy Guild Wars 1, well, by golly, you can play that as long as you'd like. There's no subscription fee, you don't have to pay for time. So some models, particularly in Asia, you actually pay on time, I believe. So rather than in the UK or say America where we'd pay a fixed fee, those guys, not all companies, not all locations of course like this, but some areas they will actually pay for time. So for example, this is particularly because a lot of these places operate on internet cafes. So it basically works on that they will pay for, let's say 2 hours of game time or like 15 hours of game time or whatever they buy. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I just know they pay for time, and I know it roughly works in that kind of way. There might be someone who has a bit more information on that. It doesn't really apply to us in the West, which is primarily the model I'm looking at. Now, the basic question I'm asking, do any of you guys actually mind paying for a monthly fee? Do you feel that in today's market, which is really the question I'm asking, it's fine and fair enough? For example, as I briefly mentioned, I believe, I was playing Old Republic. I stopped playing it, not because the Old Republic is a terrible game or anything like that, I just didn't have really time to play it, and therefore I just, you know, to begin with, I even forgot that I still had the subscription running, and then I just, you know, one day realised that, hey, these guys were taking X amount of my account. Not that I blame EA, I don't, you know, think they should keep tabs on if I'm still playing, and then write me a nice email and say, hey, we've noticed you've not logged in for like, you know, a month, 2 months. Are you sure you don't want us to put your account on hold until we come back? No, of course not. That's not, you know, that's not how business works. But, you know, I just decided to cancel it. So, you know, that's just how it works in the end of the day. But of course, Guild Wars 2, a lot of people are really looking forward to it. I know, because of the fact it's free to play on once you've made your initial purchase. So, anyway, I think I've put both points across. Personally, I have no problem particularly paying for a game online, providing I feel that the service is worth it, and that I have sufficient time to play it. Me right now, the only reason I'd personally be more willing to go with a free game is because I'm not really in a position time-wise where I can raid. I really want to be. I do extremely miss raiding. Some of my favourite online gaming moments I could only describe as when I'm raiding. I will mention that Karazhan is probably one of my favourite instances in any game. And when you fight, say, Prince Malchezaar, or when you take part on, let's say, fighting Romeo and Juliana, or I can't remember their names now. It doesn't really matter. Or the big bad wolf. You know, and there's something about those moments that it's really incredible. And the people I played with online, it was an amazing experience. And there was something about, I personally preferred the 10-man raids, but 25-man were incredibly fun as well. Particularly, I really liked a few of the earlier instances, to be honest, especially in the Burning Crusade. Now, I really like Naxxramas. I will be honest, I never played Naxxramas on the original expansion. I kind of got into it late, just as the Burning Crusade was coming out, and I really like Naxxramas on Wrath of the Lich King. Admittedly, it was a bit too easy, but I really liked the experience of it. I think that the backstory and so on was really fun. Anyway, I'm kind of getting past what I was originally saying. Sorry. So as I was basically trying to put out, what do you guys think of this? My personal opinion is that I don't really have the time to raid now, and I'm not really willing to pay like you know, basically £10 a month, and play very rarely. That's just my personal opinion. I like some months I know I wouldn't log on to the game, and it would just bug me that I'm paying for something that ultimately is not benefiting me. I suppose I could cancel my account. That's just my personal preference. I'm not saying that, you know, that's how you should be. I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue playing Terra Online. I will admit that I'm having a blast. I've done the 2 videos, and I'll probably try and put out another one featuring another character, possibly tomorrow or the day after. But it's really fun. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's really fun. But I just don't know if I'm actually going to be able to play it enough. Maybe if the videos did really well on RGT, I'd consider it, because then I could say to myself, hey, I'm doing this for, you know, the channel, so it's okay. But other than that, I haven't really had time to kind of relax. But anyway, guys, I feel that I'm kind of beating the point now with a stick. I think I've kind of, you know, put my point across. So I just wanted to know what you guys thought of this. It's that simple. You can either go with either point, or you can, you know, make your own comments below. Please let me know what you think. Give some examples if possible, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll revisit it in the future. I would be quite curious to see, maybe, for example, if Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs that are free to play online really do well, whether, say, World of Warcraft or any other game will change their monthly subscription models. I doubt it. I think, well, right now I think Blizzard are extremely happy with the numbers. Maybe when it's dying down in the distant future, let's say 5 years from now, it's possible it will go free to play, and we'll have to pay for certain features or what have you. Anyway, guys, as I was saying, I'm going to cut this now. Hopefully, it's going to promote a little bit of discussion. Hopefully, some friendly discussion. I don't want it to turn into a, you know, my MMO is better than yours. So, with that said, bye for now and take care of yourselves.